and so on and so forth, until I was shut up in March 2017 and withdrawn from in October 2017, and have been accused of all sorts since. I don't like to mention the nastiness of trying to make the case that all the brethren right across the world don't want to hear from me. The brethren have had to drop that because I'm in touch with some brethren inside who very daringly are keeping me abreast of one or two things. They're not meant to, and they'll be clobbered. Shouldn't, but they're in fear. I mean, I think the brethren know that when I was in there, I always liked to help the vulnerable and those that needed money, needed help. I don't want to mention names, but Alan Saltmarsh was dying, and you know, there was a number of outstanding loans when I was shut up which had to be called in, as I say. But I'm doing the same now to people who have been ruined by this church out here, especially in the Caribbean, where Garth and others from the UK, Cyril Parsons, a few others, were sent over to withdraw from people and do priestless. Well, if anything's interfering in other places of administration, that's it. And they leave these people penniless. They don't feel there's any responsibility towards them. In the case of the Dialis and David Betcher, they moved localities in 1999, moved continents from South Africa to Jamaica to support the testimony. The houses have got a responsibility to look after them properly, all the way through, and their sons and sons' sons, because it was a major thing. And they're coming to me now. John Wallace has helped from Cunderdin, I think, Western Australia. Lovely man. A bit brusque for some. These people are reaching out. I put out a GoFundMe appeal for the Dialis. I think it was in 2019. Not one of the brethren contributed. I think I sent it out to 1,200 brethren. These are people who need your help. It's a humanitarian appeal. And yet all these RRT things go on. It makes it look to the government as though you're the best thing since sliced bread. Be consistent, look after those you excommunicate. You've had that legislation laid on you by the British Charity Commission. So, you know, there are people out here emotionally abused. And to have a sexual allegation go public about somebody, well, personally, I would want that doubly and triply verified before I breathe the word to anybody. I can't believe that any deliberate slander of sexual infidelity would go beyond the priesthood. But the brethren invent stories about affairs which are completely untrue. Jim Design of Netchi is one. They said he was having an affair with the secretary. So Barb quickly rings the secretary. She comes round and says, I'm not having an affair with Jim, never have had. Well, the priest had to limp out, and so they got a new set of priests and exterminated him with some other weak excuse, when he was actually loyal to Simon Turner and JSH. JSH used him a lot in the universal meetings. He gave great addresses. He appealed to the heart, unlike Bruce, who was appealing to the businessman. So Bruce is in with his ruthless administration and has just chucked these guys out. Lloyd Paskowitz, another. And the list is endless. My heart bleeds for people who've got the wrong side. And Bruce uses his bodies, one Medifund, even one bus, Bible and Gospel Trusts, most certainly, Universal Business Team, to sue ex-members. I don't think that I should have used one Medifund apart from me, but no one's allowed to bring legal cases against him. So he's got all these bodies of people, 55,000 brethren, suing people left, right and centre, and they're meant to be set up for the benefit of the schools and the welfare of the young people. You know, as soon as brethren are outside the teaching of the brethren and reach out to excommunicated people, they're absolutely clobbered. So it's a very, very sad situation that I'm reporting. While I'm helping people out here, that Bruce Hales is destroying them ruthlessly, like Richard Marsh, and no response to letters from David Betcher and others. Richard's story, terrible story of abuse, putting him out into a homeless hostel where he can't earn any money. They're quite prepared to fund a homeless hostel who they know will not give any money to the brother that they're putting in there. Shocking, shocking, shocking. And I'm getting stories all the time. The other thing that's, of course, marked the brethren is just one thing I wanted to mention is Josh Mallinson. He was killed at the point when the brethren in Doncaster and Leeds were ganging up to shut me up, and that stayed proceedings for a few days. And if the brethren look, the 29 brethren look into the communications, they'll see that they were really fit. It was like an execution squad, and some have had the bravery to say, well, the Lord laid his hand on Josh because he was very like you, Lance, helping the local school, helping drum up trading and really putting himself out for the brethren. My father did the same. So genuine Christians who care for the saints, look after the saints who are struggling, are not part of the hierarchy, victimised, cast out, because Bruce Hales is setting up a certain type of person who's prepared to be violent and divide up families and hurt people in his hierarchy. So the hierarchy have got to stand down and repent and become just one of the brethren, and turn to the least esteemed and ask them to help them. Be humble, get on your faces before God, and then this whole COVID experience and PPE awards from the government that gave the brethren charitable status, and who the brethren helped in massive election activity in the elections during the 2000s right around the world, is looking more and more ridiculous, and I'm sure will come under government investigation. I mean, I've just had a report today from the press. The average for every man, woman and child in the Plymouth Brethren exclusive worldwide for government COVID contracts is over 60,000 for each person. To put that in context, in comparison, if everyone in the UK got the same, then the total value is 4 trillion and 80 billion, or 2 years of UK GDP. It's just grossly unrighteous that such a small group of people, 18,000 out of a population of what? I don't know, 70,000? Sorry, 70 million. And what proportion is that? Minute. Have managed to lure the government into giving them all these contracts. And I can assure you that they are hierarchy members, people who are buttering up to Bruce Hales and his sons. It just stinks. It stinks to high heaven. And we just hope that with the backing of the media, the government will stir the stumps and investigate it thoroughly. Because Garth and the 29 I've written to, this can't be right. My friend Tim Pocock's had some massive orders in the Brethren. I'm just amazed that Tim's just standing by and seeing me treated like this without contacting me or seemingly putting up any protest. He knows me well. We worked on the healthcare scheme for the Brethren's businesses together, with pure motive, I believe, trying to do our best. Well, the fact is the Brethren are treating people that they excommunicate abysmally, and I'm one of them. And much as I'm forgiving, we do need the truth, and we do need to forgive when the truth is fully out, you know, because I can forgive little bits, but you're not going to be clear in your conscience until the whole truth is out. It says of that woman who came trembling, she told him all the truth. Beautiful. That's the moral way. And that's really what I'm appealing for, is a moral way, just to meet matters thoroughly and just put it right with anyone you've hurt. That's really the test, isn't it? If you've hurt anybody in anything you're doing, it's wrong. It's not right. If you have to, you should make it very clear to the person and get their agreement that it has to be, because they've sinned grievously. But, the stuff I've heard, I just don't want to mention it. It sounds so ridiculous, but we've drawn the whole issues back from 15 hours, excommunicating people for mere trifles of offences, if at all, if any offence at all. It's just unbelievable, unforgivable, really. But we are forgivers. We're just waiting for you to see it for yourselves and stop being brainwashed into thinking that Bruce Hales is the man of God, the Lord's representative.